that there are some pamphlets, our other team member, Ethel Collins, who works with HPD, has a lot of pamphlets about MIH, about affordability and this project in general, so before you leave, please feel free to pick those up.
Okay, so we have another, if there's any questions from.
Yeah, who
board
are
members before we vote on
ambassadors?
this?
You talked about ambassadors. Who are they? Where are they?
So we can also follow up and give you the list of ambassadors within Community Board 10, because that does address some of the concerns about nonprofit organizations who are active in Community Board 10, who can help with those compliance concerns about ensuring not only that people are able to apply correctly for the lottery program, but after the interview process are able to have ensure that there's compliance with that 50%.
So could
Oh,
send
you,
that
can
to
you
us?
provide that
Yeah,
list?
I'll send it to Andrew.
Does that list also
Well, no,
include
folks-
HCCI and Abyssinia Development
I'm
Group?
not sure who the list includes.
One last question, man.
Hold on, hold on a second. Let's make everybody have a chance to have a voice here, all right? Charles,
I just wanted to
Victoria.
follow up with Dr. Samuel's point and your point. I think we heard some significant things that, similar to our MIH policy, has turned into a resolution. And I'm gonna recommend that through the Housing Committee and through the Land Use Committee, that we take these comments and we seek to put them in, as we did with mandatory inclusionary housing, into a resolution that will be voted on by the full board that becomes policy. I think we just need to get away from conversation. I think this is a great learning exercise. I'm hearing that we now have some buy-in to an after selection ombudsman process that we as Community Board 10 can engage in. You know, so those things just need to translate into resolution. I think the whole idea of, you know, the inclusion of, in these kind of projects, components relating to homeless, how are we gonna do our outreach to them? You know, so Dr. Samuels and others, I think we should come together and just wanna give a little bit of advertising. Monday, the October the 24th, is the next Housing Committee meeting. And I think we should continue this conversation there and then ultimately come back as we did with land use and together collectively do a resolution. The full board will participate in on how to address these kinds of projects and some of the post-application selection, you know, issues. And I apologize I had to run, but I just wanted to just add that.
Victoria and John,
Yeah, I'd just like to know the developer's corporate name, or is it a newly developed LLC?
The development here is JCal Development. We have been in the affordable living arena, our company, our company, 16 years. We built over 30 affordable buildings in Bronx and Brooklyn, and this is the first one in Manhattan.
John,
So I think we should bring this to a motion.
Yeah.
is that a motion before the question?
I'm sorry?
Before the question? Okay. There's been a motion for the question, as you know, that requires an immediate vote. 2/3, we go to the immediate vote, and we end the discussion. All in favor of calling the question, raise your hands. All opposed? Any abstentions? The question is called. What is the question? Mr. Lynch, can someone phrase the motion? And let me just say, glad you're phrasing it, John. This group, has had an excellent reputation in affordable housing. I think, as Dr. Samuels pointed out, the discussion started with them around this issue of how, of kind of a built-in resentment about this process. In fairness to them, they've answered it in a very innovative way that hopefully, as Charles said, we can maybe put into a motion and ask HPD to do. So yes, unfortunately, it was a little tough time for them, but it appears that it's an excellent project with an excellent developer who it looks like has agreed to do some very innovative things, so, motion.
So the motion would be to support the request for support with the addition on, it sounds like there are two phases of assistance and effort that you're going to be making. In terms of, you know, working with the board to ensure that as many district residents as possible apply for the lottery.
They said they were going to hire another.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, this is very general, this is high, two phases, educating people in the community in coordination with us, on the application process, lottery process, the computer, the online application process, and to work with and finance if necessary, and ombudsman in conjunction with the board, to work with the after lottery process of helping the district residents through the actual interview process to final residency.
That's not quite.
No, I don't think,
Well,
I think it's after the interview, I think you had said, Mr. Rivera.
Yes.
Things are happening, that people have an interview and then they find out that they're
Right, that's-
disqualified.
Right.
With who were originally approved. We would be glad to have an ombudsman in it. If there is somebody in that case, to represent them and help them before either it's HPD or certainly Wave Personnel Management Team, to find out what happened. They had a past history, something went wrong, does that disqualify them? Can that be taken care of so they are not disqualified? I want you to understand something, you probably all know this. There are thousands of people who apply now online. Before, it wasn't like this, it was thousands, but now it really is. So we, after the first lottery and the first wave of disqualification, we will have that ombudsman to help out, to try to assure that 50%, that goal of 50% from the this community board 10 is reached. We will endeavor to do everything we can.
No, not reached.
Right,
Be-
hold on, Julie.
We
That's-
can't.
Julie, excuse me, okay, stop, please. That's not the concern that, I don't know if you're doing it, if it's a mistake or if it's happened. I have no concern with the APD process. I'll be very clear about the lottery. I have no concern doing the outreach, I have no concern with that. They're doing a good job, they have a computer, they have all this type of stuff going on. The concern that I raised was if 50 people go through that lottery process, the concern is how do we make sure that those 50 people not get an apartment, not do anything illegal, not follow any rules, but how do we make sure that those people have a fair shot at getting an apartment with someone who can understand with some of the unique situations that they may be going through within this community? That's what I'm talking about.
And
So
that
please,
that
let's
we
not
will
keep
do.
going back to the lottery.
Right, that we will do, and we will have and that person can come to this ombudsman that's gonna be paid by us, tell them what the problem may be, they will help them as whatever they can do to make that possible.
Who picks that person?
Could it be?
You can pick that person.
No, we don't, the procurement will get in the process of picking
Okay.
your staff, we can recommend people, we have
That's fine.
people here who know this stuff, so.
Right.
Would it be possible for the ombudsman, rather than to unbake the cake, would it be possible for the ombudsman to be involved in the baking of the cake with at least in some level of the process, with determining what the interview criteria is gonna be for that management company, and how is that dealt with? Because let me give you an example. In the company I work with, we had a management company that come to find 9% of people were deemed disqualified. In fact, they told us once, which I think is probably illegal, that they smelled liquor on the person's breath, that the person didn't have the right attitude, quote unquote, whatever that meant. That company got rid of, another company got in, and all of a sudden that decreased, and the number of community residents almost was reversed. Because we have people from that community who understood maybe an attitude, if the person tells them that they're coming back from the unemployment office and whatever, maybe that's not an attitude, but that's a frustration of being unemployed. So, would the ombudsman be involved with that process, not when there's a complaint?
Exactly,
Yeah.
that's, there needs to be
Yes,
someone.
from the beginning, we're more than happy, at our expense, with a recommendation from you to hire an ombudsman, you give us 3 people, interview them, and they can be involved with Wavecrest from the beginning to help out in this issue from the beginning.
Fine.
That's
Fine.
fine.
John, finish with the motion?
Or do you want to start again?
Manny, are we gonna vote tonight on this?
He's finishing the motion right now.
So the motion is going to be conditioned on, the approval will be conditioned on the identification, selection, employment, if necessary, of an ombudsman, then he's gonna be working with the managing agent at the beginning, in the interview process, to help identify
And the,
the candidates from our district, to help them through the interview process, and to help them if there are issues that are raised that they need advocacy for, to address any history problem, any income problem that might be raised. So again, it has to be someone working at the interview table, before the interview
and
table,
also after.
and after with the problems that might be. So we want to limit the problems in the first place.
Right.
And then if there are any, people have a complaint, have someone who can advocate with them or explain what, the reality.
And try to like tweak it to make it where
That's
that
right.
problem.
That's application.
Yeah, but
No, that's, folks, I think we're clear what we wanna do, correct?
So how are we?
You're clear?
let's-
Unclear.
You're
so-
clear?
Yeah, so how are we gonna put this into?
I'll
We
draft it,
have a
like I've been
sense of
drafting
what I
everything else.
understand to be, that they are going to work to, the project's fine, we're gonna approve that, with the agreement, include the agreement that they have. In terms of advertisement for the normal lottery, they're going to do maximum effort to do that work with the other one. That's fine. And that's fine. And secondly, that once the person is selected by the lotto, this Osborne will work with the management company to advocate for that person and to ensure that the process is followed. And if there's some concerns, to bring that to the management company and advocate that this thing get worked out for the tenant. Correct? Proposed tenant.
is there a
Good.
quorum here?
This is, on behalf of the.
Will be borne by the developer.
Would be won by the developer.
Man, is there a quorum here, by the way? I'm
Yes,
just,
there is. Yes. There's a second to the motion? We've all heard it. I think we've discussed it. All in favor?
6, 7, 8 in favor.
Okay, all opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Thank you.
This will be presented at our full board meeting. Very quickly, one item, board members, before we leave. There's been a discussion about, some of you have been on the email chain about a problem that we cannot start discussing tonight, that is this not gonna be nowhere resolution. But Kevin raised a discussion about the storefronts that's within the community, that a lot of the businesses that are there are gone, the mom and pop or the local places. They're being replaced by big businesses, the rents are going sky high. It's a problem across, folks, please. It's a problem across the country, but it's a particular problem for Harlem. There was a conversation online with some of us. There was a brief meeting after the end of the board meeting. There was a sense to have a roundtable discussion, bringing in people to figure out how we can deal with it in Harlem, maybe. There's some bills pending before the city council. So, there is gonna be a meeting of the folks initially involved in that. 5 o'clock next Wednesday before the EC meeting. Any board member would like to come can do that, and I'll report back where we are at the next board meeting. All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
so moved.
Is there a second? All in favor? All in favor of adjourn? All opposed? Okay, thank you. He's the person.